Greetings, Summoners. Cosmic here, and welcome back to another Battle Spirit Saga video. And today we got the biggest Friday news drop of all time. And I'm so excited that this information is finally public, so we can go through it. Going to talk about the Grand Open, going to talk about the tournament promos, judge promos, prizing, tons of great stuff. LATAM news, Oceania news, EU news, right? It's not just NA. There's other stuff in here finally. So glad to say for the rest of the world, I'm gonna try to get out my NA bubble really quick, right? There are event information out there. Some of it is just, placeholder dates, and the registration link isn't live yet, but at least you can now start planning and know what to expect. So yes, the Grand Open, and I'm gonna put a quick image up that shows the overall schedule. But just as a reminder, these are going to be the Grand Prix, right, or Grand Opens that then qualify you for the Pro Tour, but only the immediate next Pro Tour, right? So it's 2 months of Grand Opens. I think it was 8 events in total, if I remember correctly. They might add some or remove some, or I shouldn't say remove, right? They'll only add some if they want to bring in like Canada or something, right? I can't say much more than there is talks about additional events. I'll leave it at that. If you know, you know. Fingers crossed, but they will add on some events if they can get them signed off and all that stuff. So as of right now, right, we just have these events to talk about for the first Pro Tour, but I would not be surprised at all if later in the year they do add on some additional events, or something easy to do just like Gen Con, right, where you could have multiple events given how long the event is and a big open area to play. So with that out of the way, a lot more excitement to happen down the road, but let's talk about just today. Let's focus on the here and now. So we do have the Grand Opens. You'll notice that the cash prizing pool was announced, 25 grand. I believe Flesh and Blood and Magic and some other games are usually like the 20K, so a little bit above that. Honestly, I do expect them to roll this back to like 20K next year at a minimum, if they do keep cash prizing. Flesh and Blood did this. It's just to be expected, but they broke up their 1 million pool like they did, or their promise, I should say. So this might change in, year 2, year 3, but I would expect them to kind of keep this structure going forward. That said, $7,000 of first place. That is still a good amount. You, of course, still get the prize card, which we're going to talk about shortly. Whether those sell or not, who knows, right? Like, Flesh and Blood has done this. The gold foils can be kind of difficult to move and are awkward. I did just get confirmation. I think it was Cross who popped in the Discord and talked about it, but he sold his Luffy for like 3K or something. But what does that look like, 2 years from now, right? Flesh and Blood definitely has kind of pulled back on how much those gold foils move, right? Because eventually you're just going to run out of hyper stream for it. Like, nothing beats just cold, hard cash. That's going to be the king in all this, right? So 7 grand for winning. That's obviously a very good amount. And then, of course, you can see it paying down to 32nd. 250, I mean, you're getting entry back. Obviously, it's not going to cover like flights or anything. But if you make top 8, I mean, you're sitting pretty happy with it. Then you have all the other prizing that you can sell for additional money. So good stuff there. Getting the actual prizing itself, I do love that they changed the mat and it finally says winner on it, right? So if you go into this, and if you go to the winner mat, and it gives us a hint at what the blue spirit's going to be, which is super nice. But it does say winner finally. That's great. I will say for the top 16 mat, okay, it has a pendant. Obviously, I love it. Beldegor, Seagworm, that's great. Why is Ice Princess on here? Like, I know from the lore video, I get it from a lore overall standpoint, but I think as like players who are connecting to the game and are saying like, oh, I really like these different key spirits. This is the one that I really like. The Ice Maidens are on no one's radar, right? Like, that's not there. So I think 3 out of 4 is pretty good. I do like the design. I like this idea. If you've seen like the contract saga stuff that happens in JP Battle Spirits, I really love what they've done for some of those mats. So I think this gives us a pretty good idea of what to expect as we go forward for like, once we have all 6 colors and what to expect, right? So I think going back to this one, it really does a good showcase of saying, hey, here's the other colors. Here's what we can look forward to. Here's all of them on a single, play mat. And I really hope they do keep the theme of let's have all 6 together in one play mat, right? Because that is the heart and soul of Battle Spirits at the end of the day. It's the 6 different realms, all the uniqueness of each one coming together and being showcased in whatever form they want. So really, really nice to see. More soul core, more deck boxes. It's what we expect. The core case, the life tracker, the event packs, all these are the same from the launch events. It's exactly what we expected. They're obviously going to have more. I had a very good feeling, but good to see confirmed as well that the finalist pack is the exact same from the launch events. They're selling for like over $100 now. Maybe that comes down a little bit, but they're still be very limited. And the gold foiling is really, really nice. That gives me a lot. But the one that I'm super excited about, and I swear, Bandai, don't make me regret this. I'm going to be so upset. I have long have waited, and I've done multiple videos on this. I've done multiple Twitter posts. I have talked this to bloody death at this point. I absolutely love the double X gold foiling that they have in Japan Battle Spirits. It is some of the best foiling that I have seen across Japanese-based card games, and I really hope this means that we're going to see it here as well for Battle Spirits Saga. We did have the preview from the lore set that were going to be gold cards as well, but those were all like the half frames, right? So like your commons, uncommons, rares, where they have just the middle text box where your X rares are full art. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be like a unique gold foiling, and it's not like just a flat gold like we've seen for the buy a box promos. The buy a box promos are neat, but again, for what's supposed to be special and be it both the champion promo and then obviously the lore set, right? Really, please, Bandai, do this right. That's all I'm going to ask for you. Please, please, please do this right. I want the quality of the double X rares from Japanese Battle Spirits. That out of the way, we can just go down some of the other ones, right? Again, top 128, you're getting a bunch of stuff, participation, all that, great, fantastic. The big one, too, here is judge compensation packs, right? So these are very, very spicy. We didn't have these for the launch events, but it's good to see that they are doing this for events going forward. So some of these are obviously going to be like, your opinion based on if you're playing them or not, but we do have an X-Rare. It is nice to see an X-Rare Maduke, obviously a key character for lore reasons and what we've seen so far in set 1. Good to see that they're kind of continuing and tying it back to that. And of course, it's not a great card. It's not a bad card. It's just very okay, right? So it is nice to have. Depth, though, love this. It's a purple staple. It's a card that we're going to see a lot of, I'm sure, in future sets. That's going to be great. Rocket City, I've loved this one early on. I think this is another slam dunk. Blessed Cathedral. Woo! Man, I'm glad that this is already a foil in the main set. But I kind of want some of these, and I promised myself I wouldn't judge another game. But any of my Battle Spirit Saga judges out there, if you happen to get some of these, definitely hook me up. Let's talk, right? Andromedos, this is a card that I am so sure is going to get better with set 2. It just has to. I think this is solid. Scorched Battlefield, obviously a 4 of. Maybe gets a little bit less value because this is now the second foil version of it, right? The full foil decks from Early Adopter and Top Cut get a foil version. I really do like that cold foil, right, that they have on it, so to speak. So I'm curious to see where this one lands. Firewall, okay, that kind of sucks. Poison Shot, yeah, that kind of sucks. Buffalong Bill, middle of the road, but we're getting an Early Adopter promo pack, so that one kind of feels like a miss. Dream Bomb, though, mwah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. This is going to be nuts. It is a starter deck exclusive card, especially if this is foil. Woo, this is going to be absolute gas. Freeze-a-Tall, I'm biased. I like this, but I think this one is kind of, again, middle of the road. We already have a foil version of it through the event pack, so this just kind of feels like beating it to death. And then Drowsy Fumes. This one is nice because we have the Tamagotchi promos, but they aren't confirmed yet if they're going to be foil or not. Or at least I haven't seen anywhere. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments, but it's pretty sure as of right now, they're not confirmed to be foil or not. So cool. I'm glad it's an option. Obviously, as someone who wants to foil out, 2-cost rush in the future, this might be a really important card for us to get. So overall, I think there's going to be some insane hits in this. Obviously, there's a couple that you're going to, just feel bad to open. Really cool from a collector's standpoint. Well, I mean, you know what? I got to give it to Poison Shot. Poison Shot's at least way better than Firewall. Firewall, what are you doing? I think there's a conversation to be had around every other judge card that's in here except Firewall. I'm sorry. That one's a huge miss. Just oof. We have the Early Adopter promos too, right? But those aren't going to go anywhere. So enough about that. Overall, judge compensation. Keep in mind, you're not getting just one of these, or at least I hope you're not just getting one of these. Judges will walk away with multiple packs. It's how they do it in all the other Bandai games and just other games in general. So I do expect these to get pretty well into circulation by the time you get a couple of events going. So that is all fine and grand. The other thing that I want to touch on just quickly is going back to the Store Championships events. Again, reminding that this pricing is up. We've seen these promos. I tweeted about it, the all-in-one images there. The sign-up is available for the other events, so make sure if you see my video, I'm going to link it here again as well. If you don't know how to use BTCG+, go watch that video. It's a really easy walkthrough. Do not use zip code. Set your favorite organizers, right? The app and website's not great, but if you know the workarounds, it's perfectly fine. So that's all I'll say about that. But the signups for Store Championship for your store is now live, and it goes until May 12th, I think it is. It's a really random cutoff date. So if you want to make sure that they don't miss out on anything else, please go talk to your LGSs today, get them to sign up and all that good stuff. that out of the way, we finally got the other news that we've been waiting on as soon as I find store tournaments, right? These are finally updated, and I'm going to start with these first, right? We do have winter promos, which is really nice. I'm hoping that these are going to be like more gold stamped and not just the stupid one-piece flat color that they've done on them. I'm really hoping it's not. I would have liked to seen a little bit closer to like the Japanese Battle Spirits winter promo, but we'll see, right? Maybe it's better, but I've kind of like the font's fine, but I just really want it to be like a proper gold stamp, and it looks like it isn't. So that is a little bit of a bummer. That said, let's get into the promos themselves. And I have this nice all-in-one image that you can just go ahead and take a screenshot, all that good stuff if you want to. But it is there. So going just through these in general. So Swordosaurus, when the spirit attacks, gains 2,000 BP. So obviously very good for hitting good numbers. But then really important, during your attack step, refresh the spirit when one of your other Pterosaur spirits is blocked. So this does open up a couple things like, obviously, with Rex, you always want to swing first, so that's not going to happen. But if you have a board state where you have some of the other Pterosaurs that are confront heavy, then you can get multiple attacks with this guy. So I think what we've seen so far today is a very low to the ground, right? Like all in, low aggro Rex. And this one definitely leans us more towards a mid-range variant that I think you're playing, I don't know, just like a 2 or 3 of in Rex because it's probably just good enough. It is expensive for what you want to be doing, but the fact it goes up to 6K is really, really nice. So I'm sure it finds room in both versions, but overall, this definitely screams way more mid-range to me than the all-in low aggro ground. But again, very solid. You're going to want 4 just to get 4. Pterosaurs will get more support in the future. The blanket statement I'll say up front here is like, these cards are all gas. Like, you will need to talk to your LGS to get these promos because these could be very, very expensive. That is like the one downside I'll say up front. Like, yeah, if you weren't able to talk to your LGS yet, or they just missed out on the May promos, which is very reasonable because signups were closed forever, and June signups are open right now, it might be a little bit difficult to get some of these for the first round of Grand Opens, but by month 2 and month 3, not a problem at all. Going on from there, we have Comet Dragon Sun Grazer. So 5 cost, 2 reduction. When summoned, all your spirits get 2,000 BP during this turn. So it's nice. It's an Anthem effect, which is pretty rare right now, and it does kind of feel a little bit bad to have a when summon when Star Blessed Draw is just everywhere right now. That activates at all levels. But for what this deck wants to be doing for the deck it goes in is really, really important to get that 2,000 BP. And so the second and third, during your attack step, if this spirit has a soul core on it, draw a card when you reduce one of your spirit's cores to 0 with Awaken effect. So this is really important too. And there's exactly one deck that wants this card. And I'm just so lucky that it's my shop owner's like pet deck, the one that he was building, he really loves. And it's really crazy when it pops off. But Mars, going all the way back to Ares Dragon, who wants more cards to have Awaken. The biggest downside of this guy, why doesn't he have Awaken himself, right? Like, I had to read it several times, and this just screams that it should have Awaken on it, but I get that would be too good, I guess, so then he's like an all-in-one engine. Now, that does lead me to believe that, and once we talk about some of the other cards, this is in a very interesting spot, right? So Swordosaurus is very clearly for set 1 pterosaurs, like, it's a good fit, all that stuff, but the Comet Dragon, this doesn't really have a good home in set 1 from Awaken, so we will either see massive support in EX01, like another huge key Awaken piece, or this tells us that the Curse Lord that's coming in set 2 is going to be for the Awaken archetype, and if that happens, this card might get, might have a buyout and might get extremely expensive out of nowhere, even if it's not tested or not yet, but the effect can be really strong for what it wants to be doing. And I think in the Mars deck, if you can afford like the 1 extra slot, I think this is fine because in a lot of times, like, you have to attack with your Awakened guy, your opponent's going to block, he's going to die anyways, but you just want to get that blocker out of the way, and now you can draw a card for moving the cores over. So it's very, very, very niche. I think it is by far one of the 2 worst cards in this pack overall, the other one being Crimson Mail, but I definitely see a world where this can get improved a lot. Moving into purple, we have Black Lance, 6 cost, 4 reduction. So very heavy reduction. I do love this. Important to note that it does have Curse. I really wish it was 4K at level 1. that does bum me out a little bit. But what's really interesting here too is now the design space that we're getting into with when summon, draw 2 cards. So now it's optional that you can put this in curse aggro, right? And say, okay, if my opponent doesn't have a burst spirit or a burst card set, I'm gonna use my when summon, draw 2 more cards, get more gas, right? This deck is always, or the curse aggro deck is always gonna have heavy reduction on board. So it fits in very, very nice. Like Black Lance, yes, Shadow aggro needs some work in general. And I think this does do what you want to do for that deck, right? Does give it a nice little boost. And I think this is a card that once we get more of the cursed archetype and get some other cards in EX01 or set 2, this is another one that's like really on my radar, as Starblessed has other cards that fight for that slot, where I think everyone is just playing it by default currently. And then over time, it might get, lower and lower in the meta as other cards come up. So Black Lance, absolutely keeping it on my radar. Crimson Mail, I want to like you so much. I really, really do. It's a shadow, which is relevant, I guess, but 3 costs, 1 reduction. When summon, right? When we just talked about how Starblessed is everywhere. Having a force when summon can feel pretty bad, but select one of your spirits. You may destroy it to select one of your opponent's spirits and then remove a core from it and place it into the reserve. So this is the aristocrat style of deck, or self-sacrifice or self-destroy, and we just don't have that right now. So this one, it is so far out of place. I don't even know where to begin. Like, obviously, there's a couple cards that combo with it. You can get the core stripping for like Purple Smoke Valley. But why are you playing even more when summons that can just be such a whiff later on? Like, it's better than some of the other, single core strips that we have in early purple, because it can combo with other cards that you want to be playing. But no, like, it goes up to 3K max. It should have another cost reduction. Like, there has to be something for this in the next either EX01 or set 2 that we just don't know about yet. But that's going to feel really bad to open. But at the same time, if you can get these for like $1, pick up a playset, because there is a world where, depending on if we get some strong when destroyed effects later on, that might actually become insane, hopefully, eventually. And now getting into the rest, which are just pure gas all the way around. DO8 Axe Spider. So this is getting into Mecha. So again, Mecha support is something that we wanted to see. That is very, very important. Let's not miss that. Infinite Mothership. Yeah, great. Armor Purple Yellow at level 1 and level 2. So again, Armor Yellow is very, very rare as it is right now for white, so that is already giving this card a buff. And then what's really interesting too is at 3 cores for 5K, neither this spirit nor any white nexus with a soul core on it can be destroyed by your opponent's destruction effects or as a result of battle, and they cannot have their cores removed by opponent's effects. So no destruction, no BP comparisons, you can't BP reduce it because of yellow, and no core stripping because purple, and no AoE effects then either. This card just gums up the board. Now, yes, a 5K for 3 might not line up exactly how you want it to, but it is a mecha for Infinite Mothership, and I think that is probably one of the most important parts of it. So absolutely love this card. I think both the white cards are just insane, honestly, and something you're going to want to pick up. Again, if not for this immediate meta, I definitely see a world where these are both very played, and again, we just needed more mechas anyways for Curiosity, Infinite Mothership, right? So many cards that just care about mecha. I really like that one. And then going into the other one for 5 cost, 3 reduction, Black Jaggard. So when summoned, select 2 of your opponent's spirits with 2,000 or fewer BP, return them to the bottom of the deck. So this is a thing that I was really dreading, right? With white, bounce it to your hand, that's fine. I get to replay it, that's cool, that's great. But now you're bouncing my Friezatals to the bottom of my deck. We got problems. So it's really important to note that the 2,000 BP is like a really odd threshold. So obviously against yellow, it's really, really good. And yellow naturally beats up white pretty well. So this is Bondi giving them a little bit of a clawback, if you will, to give some answers to yellow. And then the interesting effect for the level 2, during your opponent's attack step, refresh the spirit when your opponent draws a card, specifically during the attack step. So it would have to be things like Aggleville dying, the Ducky Dino drawing a card for spending the soul core. What else? Blocking if they have depths, right? It's a little bit more limited. I really wish this just said like in general. Probably would be too good then, but I think for what it is, for the power thresholds, for the when summoned, very, very good card. Machine Beast, but we don't have anything that cares about Machine Beast unless it's over, 6 cost, or is it over 7 cost? Now I forget, but it doesn't hit the threshold for Nexus, right? But overall, I think this is a card that, again, could definitely find a home in the near future. Moving on to yellow, War Angel Mace Knight. So at level 1, 2, and 3, during your attack step, when an opponent's spirit is destroyed via reducing its BP to 0, treat this spirit as level 3 during this turn. And then at level 3, it has Luster. So this is a nice, like, surprise Luster that can quickly get to level 3. Like, right, they try to block it with a 4K, for example, right? So the way that this would work is you go to attack, they try to block, you BP reduce one of their other small guys, kill that, your guy's now a 6K, you're going to get that spell back, and you're hopefully killing 2 things. I think that's maybe a little bit too telegraphed for what this card wants to be doing, but Luster so badly needs another, like, a non-Shin card, right? Just as it is, like, Shin's insane, that you want to have as, like, a flex spot. I'm not sure that War Angel Mace Knight is going to be it, but I do like this design space of, like, making the BP reductions more important. So I'm really waiting for us to get a 4K BP minus, which, you know, fingers crossed it might be in set 2. Who knows? But again, another card that I don't love it right now. I think you're still playing, like, Fabled Beast Michaela, which we've talked about everywhere at this point. So where you don't need this, you just play Shin instead, right? And that's fine. But for people who want a more dedicated Luster deck, which that's me, that's high. You know, this is definitely one that you would consider, but I think overall that the archetype itself is a little bit lacking because of what the rest of the Luster deck looks like, right? Shin is amazing. Michaela is obviously your key spirit. I think War Angel Mace Knight, that's a lot to say, is something to consider. And then the rest of the deck just feels terrible, like Crafter Fairy and stuff like that. You don't want to play them on summons because they're just bad, and Star Blast is everywhere right now. Like, their BP thresholds are terrible. Bleh. Like, very okay. Definitely something I expect to, you know, pick up in value long term. And then the last one is Dual Eagle, and holy card is gas. Yes, it does need to be level 2 for Bless, but look, this is my favorite. I know I'm biased, right? It's yellow. It's a Fabled Beast. This promo is literally everything yellow players wanted, and I would not be surprised if it is the most expensive promo in this pack, if only not because, or it maybe not because there's a winner variant that could, like, bring the price of the the regular version down, but in terms of, like, what decks really wanted a promo, yeah, it's Dual Eagle. So 5 cost reduction at level 2 and 3. It has Bless, so it does hit 4K for 2. Beautiful, love to see it. Very important number. When you deal damage, you gain a life. But then during your attack step, your spirits with Bless cannot be blocked by your opponent's level 1 spirits. Go watch my Fabled Beast video if you haven't already. So now we have God Beast, who is making all your 2 cost unblockable. Now we have Dual Eagle, who is making 2 other cards unblockable. Woo! We are playing unblockable the deck, boys. Let's go! And he's going to draw us cards because he's a Fabled Beast. Like, what? This is insane. God, I love it. I am so thankful I have so many local weeklies to play in because, woo! As soon as we get those Dual Eagles, I am 100% jamming nothing but yellow in the near future. It's absolutely insane. So going back to where we're at, right? So the last, let me go back to events, grand opens. So again, just to circle back to it, because it is, like, obviously TPO1, very excited. I love that we kick it off in a week. Weeklies are starting up. Store release events are kicking off, which can be, you know, if they want to do sealed, they want to do limited draft, excuse me, if they want to do starter decks, they can do whatever they want, right? But we're finally getting into, like, weekly testing practice that matters. And then also, I don't think I scrolled down far enough, right? But in case you missed it, or if you clicked here to the end, the locations are scheduled all at the bottom for the grand opens, right? We have the 2 for Europe, we have Latin America, and we have Oceania, right? So these are the 6 events for the first Pro Tour. And then we're going to get 6 more events later this year for the next Pro Tour, right? So this is like the cycle that we can expect going forward. Again, I had that image up front. So definitely really excited for all the great news that's been dropping. So with that, go out and play, right? Go talk to your locals. We're 1 week away. Go sign up for the weekly store events if they haven't already. Go sign up for store championships if they haven't already. What else is there? Go pre-order the lore set if they haven't already, because that's going to be an insane product. Like, there's so much good news and good momentum about to drop for Battle Spirit Saga that I'm so excited. And I don't think I mentioned it in this video yet, but I did mention it on Twitter. If you haven't already, also make sure to go check the Q&A update. There was some ruling some ruling updates, not that anything changed, but what we expected, but now confirmed in writing, sort of thing, right? So if you haven't already, just make sure you go and check your, I'll pull it up here, right? So game rules, go check your Q&A, right? Really important. Just make sure you know how all the cards work. So with that, more videos to come next week. Again, I apologize for getting a video out there and then hitting another major personal life road bump. So more videos to come soon. I'm going to hopefully work with like Asperia on some, and then I'm going to record like locals and stuff. So I just really have to figure out what the new weekly flow is going to look like, because my life kind of got turned upside down from like how my week to week goes, but I'll figure that out hopefully soon, get some more videos out here. So with that, as always, make sure to stay updated, make sure to like and subscribe for future Battle Spirits Saga content, but otherwise, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your week and weekend. Stay hydrated, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next Battle Spirits Saga video. Cheers.